Hi everyone, my name is Sujin Park and I'm going to be discussing your vaccine card, a way to simplify the COVID-19 vaccine process. As the variant is sweeping the nation, a growing number of industries such as companies, schools, restaurant, bars, and so on are requiring attendees to be vaccinated with proof. If you've gotten the vaccine yourself, you know the small paper card that gets handed to you after your first shot. It's flimsy and definitely not weatherproof, but it's expected to be carried around and saved for as long as who knows. There are several problems that arise from this. First, the card itself is easily lost, ruined, and forgotten, especially when it's required to do many activities these days for the right reasons. This leads to having a fake vaccine card because it was either forgotten or worse, unvaccinated people are faking them. An industry around this started growing around providing fake vaccine cards for those who are against them for personal or religious reasons. There's an Instagram account called Vaccination Cards that sell COVID-19 vaccine cards for just $25 each. There's even an app called the Telegram that offers COVID-19 vaccine card certificates for $200 a piece. Especially with the rise of college and universities requiring vaccines, at least 675 schools to be specific, and if students do not provide them, they are putting them on hold until they are uploaded. There's no current validation process, but schools have to implement serious consequences. How do we validate cards and preserve the real cards that people are easily forgetting and damaging? The answer is one source that holds your vaccine cards virtually that is compatible to the cloud and everyday technology such as iPhone, Androids, and other web browsers. I introduce you to Your Vaccine Card, an application and website that is one source that holds your vaccine cards virtually and it's compatible to all technologies. Why will this work? This will offer vaccination appointments to those that didn't get them yet. This will also keep track of vaccination process, such as if you have gotten one dose or two. Currently, the tracking system is broken. For example, my dad recently received a letter in the mail saying it was time to schedule his second vaccine. He got both his doses 3 months ago in May. With his language barrier, he understood that it was time to take his booster shot. Luckily, he asked me to review and it was an error on their part. Also, your vaccine card will be one source for vaccination scheduling, tracking, and cards will be validated. This will reduce fraudulent vaccine cards, incorrect information about vaccines, like my dad, for example, and we will partner with the government, CDC, and many industries to use this one source as a validation system. The application will be useful for people with smartphones as they can schedule, track, and access their card from the comfort of their phone that is always likely with them. According to Statistica, there are 6.4 million people globally who own smartphones. That is over 80% of the world population. For the rest of the population without phones, they can access your vaccine card online on a web browser. Worst case, they could go to a public library to print, even though it's not ideal since it will be the same as the current vaccination card we are receiving. Yet, your vaccine card will cover a majority of the population that is falling within the problems introduced earlier. So what are some barriers to implementation? Well, first, we will need significant funding of $300 million to source team and technology. Yet, after this presentation, I hope to talk to some investment bankers and work this out. And then another barrier to implementation are those populations that are against the vaccine in the first place. According to Kaiser Family Foundation, as of August 4th of this year, 70% of adult population in the U.S. have received at least one vaccine. However, this doesn't include young adults, children, and babies, which would reduce that percentage by a lot. Also, with the rise of anti-vaxxers due to personal, political, or religious reasons, this can become a barrier to implement a true source of an application that will streamline the COVID-19 process. But this reliable and trusted software, your vaccine card, will provide updated statistics, data, and news regarding the COVID-19 vaccine rates. It will provide the current mandates and laws that are being placed. and that could be easily searched by locations, or one can change it if one plans on traveling or just curious on their own. This will be based on the job theory that the purpose of this application is for the benefit of the consumer's values and circumstances to help them competent in their health management against COVID-19. The application will explain thoroughly that the reason for all of this is for the benefit of the consumers and public health. We will measure success by the rate of vaccination, which will increase from the current 70% of adults to ideally over 90%. Also, COVID validation and reduction in fraud would occur, and then we will also track vaccine appointments scheduled through the application. Also, we would track usage month over month, then look into demographics. We will target states that are lower in vaccination rates and higher in hospitalization rates. These are the states that less than 50% of the state population have received their first dose of vaccine. So it ranges from Mississippi all the way to Georgia. In conclusion, your vaccine card will resolve the current problems and more. It will allow consumers to never lose their vaccine cards since it will be virtual. And also, it cannot be duplicated and sold through our software because it would be a validation process. Additionally, it would streamline vaccine scheduling and tracking. It would educate the population, which is so important, with trusted resources in one location, because right now there are too many news and word going around that's confusing a lot of the public. So having one source for all COVID related things would be helpful. Also, in the end, this will help the world fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and get closer to normalcy. Thank you. And here are my references.